All right, folks, welcome back to the show. Guys, I hope you're all doing really, really well. Have we got a treat for you today? We are going to be telling you this story about probably the worst and the best Amazon product we ever launched. But first, Alex, how are you doing today?
Good, mate. Just come back from a bike ride
Oh,
and got a few hours now before the gym. So it's been a productive day. Weather's better than it was last week. So Alex is in a good mood.
very good, very good, very good. Man, do you ever like stop exercising or anything like that? Like, what happens if you don't exercise?
I just shrivel up and die. That's what I perceive anyway. I'll just shrivel up and
Yeah,
die.
yeah, yeah. You haven't taken the chance.
Yeah, no, that's what I
Just
think.
keep running.
Yeah,
I actually didn't get to the gym today at all. So I'm hopefully going to get this evening. So for just a half an hour, it's just like consistently. It's funny. Julie was speaking to me, my wife, this morning, and she said to me, like, you're in such a better mood when you go to the gym every day. And I was like, yeah, consistency. I love it. Like, even when it's hard, I just like get to the gym and I just think it sets you up better. It does set you up better, right?
I think it
Um,
does. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, so much. So, guys, if anyone's listening and they don't go to the gym, just start small. Go. Don't worry about any of the fancy stuff. Exercising, break sweat. That's our top tip, right? But no. What we'd like to talk to you today is it's really just tell you a story, right? And this story starts way back in 2020. Alex, I think it's probably a good point to mention you were doing some drop shipping at the time.
yes. That's. I guess that's where the idea came from, wasn't it?
Yeah.
For the product that went tits up. We were well, go back even further. We were selling products on Amazon, and we were doing. Well, I can't remember what you were doing, but I was doing some work for a company. I was doing that email marketing for an online Amazon coaching company, and as well as selling on Amazon, they also they also taught other people different strategies. So like they had this theory or this principle that was like it should never be this or that. It's always an and strategy. So they were obviously talking about building different income streams and multiple income streams. So they would
Mm.
bring different guests on each week or every month who had different trainings on how to make money on the internet in different ways. And one promotion that we wrote, it did really well, and it was essentially a spin on dropshipping. And I can't fault it because it actually worked. Like the actual process of what they taught was very different than what the people were teaching, and it was as simple as basically building a website, simple website with products on it, and you would just send Google traffic, which is like paid advertising, to these pages, and then you would double down on the products that were getting sales and just scale the ad spend up from there. And what we thought was, well, you know, you know, we started doing this and having some success with different products, but the problem was we couldn't control the stock. So this was a really bad problem. And then we thought, well, we can use this dropshipping method to identify products that have got demand and will sell. And then we'll use Amazon FBA and our skills there to bring products in and actually have control of the stock. So the product, drum roll,
Well,
please.
hold on before you get to that, right? Yeah, before you get to that, I think you've really summed it up really well. So Alex started doing this, and you remember he started showing me like, all these like, guys, you all know it, right? Like sales screenshots, like, and then when you start seeing that, you get this like, I
And it
don't
was
know what
decent,
it is, but I need to do this.
but it
Pardon?
was good, though, wasn't it? Like I was
Oh
up
yeah,
to about a thousand pounds of dollars a day consistently for
yeah,
a while.
consistently, right? And that's pretty good out the gate, right? So Alex started showing me these. I was like, okay, I'm just going to do this as well. Like, what's the worst that can happen, right? I think that's why a lot of people get into dropship and they think like, oh, it's easy. You just list someone else's product and put some ads to it. It'll start selling, and I'll just fulfill. And simple, right? So I remember I started with different random products. The idea was you'd find products with traffic, as Alex said. You put them on your own Shopify store. You put them live. The cringiest, most I would say ugly looking Shopify store ever, but apparently it converted well. And I remember I was lying in bed and I used to get up like for 4 or 5 in the morning at work, right? And I got up. I remember I got the sale during the night, and I was like, I cannot believe this, right? I have a sale. Someone bought off this store, right? And I was selling like hardware and stuff. So I was trying different items, and eventually I landed on a particular item, right? And that's where this story really begins, right? Now, this item is the randomest thing, and if it really drives home that there's a market nearly for everything. But the
Especially
item,
America.
especially in America, yeah, yeah. So the item was, I kid you not, a cat playpen, right? A cat's playpen. Would you believe that? I don't know. But anyway, the cat playpen started selling really well, and I remember I was selling it for like I think 69, 74, $79, right? And I started doing like three, four, $500 a day selling this cat playpen, and everything was hunky dory until I started having trouble with stock. Now remember, folks, this was 2020, so this was like the height of COVID, which meant that there was just these logistical nightmares at the time where you couldn't get like products moved, ports were being shut down, things were just going out of stock really quick, shipping was slow, and this really like it was a big like it's the Achilles heel to drop shipping, I think, because what would happen was someone would order the item, and I would go to buy it, and then I discovered the item I was advertising was no longer available or was out of stock. And then I'd buy something similar and I get them shipped from maybe I need to get some parts from one supplier, some from another. And I just started doing this, and it just ended up that ultimately I had to refund some customers. Other times I was only making a small margin, maybe 10, 15, $20 per sale profit, which is still good, like, by the way. But if you think about it, like if you do 4 or 5 a day, that's $100, right? So I was doing that, but I thought to myself then, like as Alex said, what happens if we use this drop shipping method to test products with viability, then go to China, source the item, and then continue drop shipping, right? Like, is that not a win-win? Was that kind of the plan?
Yeah, that was exactly the plan. That was exactly the plan. And we from there we found a good supplier. We found someone who was reputable, and they sent us samples which we okayed, and I think we went back and forth with some like little design tweaks to get it absolutely bang on and perfect.
Better. Get it better.
I believe we had a really good product. Like from the sample and what we developed, there was market demand for it, believe it or not, like Peter said, in the US, not in the UK, but in the US.
Yeah,
Yeah, so then we placed an order. The order turned up, got into Amazon, and it started selling. And then after about, I can't remember how long it would have been, a couple of weeks maybe, started getting these messages from customers saying they didn't know how to attach these tunnels that came with the tent. So if you can picture it now, if you're not watching, you're just listening, if you can imagine an actual tent that you would buy in like a camping store, and it would have these tunnels, these see-through tunnels that you would zip onto the tent for the cat to have more space to run around in. And you could obviously link these up to new other tents and all sorts of weird stuff. And the customers were emailing us saying, we can't connect the tents together. Like the zip, and me and Peter were sat there like, how can you not figure out that it's like a normal zip like you would get on a coat or a jacket, and you zip them together and you close them up. It's that simple. And we were scratching our heads for must have been days. Like, what is people can't be this dumb, surely.
And we were getting negative reviews and we were getting returns.
Yeah. So then we were like, right, we've got a problem here. So then we started looking into what actually happened. And it turns out that there was a problem in the manufacturing, and part of the zipper hadn't been put on properly on a lot of the products, if not all of them. So people couldn't zip their tunnels to their tents. So essentially a faulty product, right? And the supplier was adamant that it wasn't their mistake, and it was something to do with our design. And we were on the other side of the fence and being like, no, how can you just use human logic and not know that this is how it's supposed to be? So we took a big L on that, big loss. But I feel we learned quite a bit from that in terms of, I don't know, just...
Yeah. Here, I'll just touch on a few things. So, like the supplier at the time, the sample they sent us had the zip the correct way. The batch order that the customers received was different. And actually, it wasn't the zips, there was like these tie strings you could tie together, but the problem was the cats were escaping. Do you remember that? So like, between all this, it was just a disaster, right? And like, because it was such a nice product, right? And I remember we thought, okay, we used Alibaba Trade Assurance for this order, and I remember thinking, well, look, we'll open a case, we'll get our money back because it's cost us thousands. I think that was like a 10 or 12K order, right? And we opened the case, and it turns out anyways, we got nothing, right? Because it wasn't written specifically in the contract that the zips have to be this way, even though like you're like, come on, the sample was this way. But anyway, we didn't get anything from that, and the supplier just sort of said, we burnt our bridges there, basically. Like obviously, if we decided we're going to knuckle down on this product, we could have reordered, got that fixed. I'm sure we would have been able to make it go. But at the time, Alex, I think both of us were just like, we're peeved off and we're like, we just finished with this product, even though there was potential there. But we took that learning, and what we really learned from it is that, you know, you need to always get your items checked in China before you do a big order on a new item. Like I think 100% has to be checked, and I think you have to be specific in your contract of exactly what you want, and that they're the major learnings. Like that's what I took away from it. And people could say, like, you know, that product launch failed, and yeah, indirectly it kind of failed, but the reality is the model worked. The model was good, and it led us on to new things. So I don't think it was a bad thing, but that was probably our. I think that was our probably. It's our most infamous product launch, I would think.
What about? Okay, so that was what you would class as the worst one. What about if we flip the script and look at what our maybe best product has been so far? I mean, let's disregard. I mean, obviously now this is a little bit of a different question because now I feel that the way we build these brands and products now is a lot different than it was back then, because we weren't looking to build a brand around a cat playpen back then, which we could have done. In fact, we probably should have done. We didn't. We just thought, right, we've got this brand name on Amazon, a random brand name. Let's just sell every product that will make money underneath it, which is part of that. But now with a brand like Apex that we've been building and other brands, they're very specific, and we have a lot. Like it's a lot different process of what products we select, and the whole building process behind it. It's not just selling on Amazon. It's all about having a social media strategy. Then we have our own website. Then we have Amazon. So it's a little bit different. But I mean, if we take Apex out of the equation for a second, what other products have sold really well for us? Just let's think of one.
My most, like, look, there's been so many, but probably the one that like jumps out at me, like the one that I'm most excited about, that just was the launch kind of went a bit wrong, guys. Don't worry, all launches don't go wrong. It's actually quite rare, but it went really well, but it went really wrong. It was the fencing pins. Man, that product just went crazy. So it was a steel fencing pin. It's something that we sell to this day. We're actually out of stock at the moment, but it's coming back in. It is basically, it went into stock, right? And it literally sold like 10,000 plus in, well, actually, no, hold on. It went into stock. It started selling straight away, just straight out the gate. No reviews, no nothing. Sell, right? I think it was doing like 6 a day, 10 a day. Like that's pretty good out the gate. But then what happened was Amazon started like removing them from our inventory. And it turns out the box and the supplier had used a thinner box than they were supposed to. And it ended up that the box, it was fine in the Mastercard, but when it got to the UK, when you took it out of the Mastercard, the box was kind of falling apart. So we had to take all those products out and we had to repackage them into thicker cartons, send them back in. And that was a few orders ago. Like things were fixed with the supplier. They use better cartons now. But that item, like I think in the first month, it ended up doing nearly like, 15,000 pounds. Mm-hmm. Like, so to me, that was really, really good. And for anyone else, they'd be like, oh no, it's failed. Like things have gone wrong, but we just adapted, went at it, and we now keep that product in stock. And so that's probably my favorite, like that was my favorite recent product launch kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I just thought it was pretty epic. Like anything else, like there's so many. Like man, I even have another one in my head. Like
we should do another one of these stories in maybe a year's time, like best and worst products again, and see where we're at with all these new brand launches, because I feel those new brand launches are way more valuable than just a product that seems to sell really well on Amazon. And even those fencing pins, I mean, looking at it now, there's no reason why someone couldn't build a gardening brand around fencing pins, or a farming or agricultural brand. There's
100%.
so many different ways you go with it, rather than just, I've got a product, I'll stick on Amazon under this random brand name. It'll make money, but that's fine. But the actual bigger opportunity is in building the brand, because then you also have a sellable asset if you decide you want to sell it.
That's what's so important. Like in every video I make now, I kind of touch on that. Like we're trying to build sellable assets here. We're not just launching a product. A product really isn't a sellable asset. It's something that someone could try and steal, or create a new brand and come in and compete with. But an actual proper brand that you really build customer loyalty, like, that's very hard to steal.
Totally.
And we'll touch more on that later. But guys, if you're enjoying these, please let us know. And if you have anything you'd like us to discuss, just stick it down in the comments, message us wherever you're listening to this from, and we'd be happy to make content around whatever topics you like as well, because that's what it's all about here.
Totally.
Right, guys, take care, and we'll chat you soon.
Ta-ra.